Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 4, definitely the final part for today for Wednesday, September 4th, 2013. I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.net, and on YouTube my channels are ddarko2012 and my backup is ddarko2013. So if you want to subscribe, if you're a new viewer. Alright, this is going to be kind of a different video here, but I thought I'd include it in here because you keep hearing the term World War III, World War III. Someone asked me, basically on a scale to 1 to 10, how close to World War III would you say we are, 1 being world peace and 10 being basically chaos or Armageddon. And the first thing I said was, personally, I think that we've been in World War II or World War III since the end of World War II. My basis for this is Albert Pike, a Mason, his predictions on 3 world wars. He received a vision which he described in a letter that he wrote to Mazzini dated August 15, 1871, which outlined plans for 3 world wars that were seen as necessary to bring about the one world order, and we can marvel at how accurately it was predicted. Like everything else, it was commonly believed fallacy for a short period of time. It was on display at the British Museum Library in London. To date, no conclusive proof exists to show that this letter was ever written. Nevertheless, the letter is widely quoted and the topic of much discussion. Following are apparently extracts of the letter showing how 3 world wars have been planned. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia and the making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agentur agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the 2 religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between fascists and political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Here's where it gets good. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the agentur of the Illuminati, between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and the political Zionism state of Israel mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate these destroyers of civilization and the multitude, and disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. This manifestation will result from a general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So that's why I said, personally, I think we've been in World War III since the end of World War II. As far as a hot war goes, it appears to be at a 6.5 to 7. My reasoning is because although the breaking up of Syria seems imminent, the question of how Iran, Russia, and China will react is still in question to me. I'm aware of the news of Putin and Iran's new president vowing support, yet no matter what happens, my gut seems to tell me Russia and China will stand aside so long as their economic interests are not threatened. So it's basically up to Iran. And again, I have, just like Russia, I'm apprehensive about Iran and Russia saying that they're sovereign nations and that they're free and autonomous and they don't have agents inside there. We may see a few years of post-Syria become like Iraq and Libya. This will, of course, threaten the established order in surrounding countries, including Iran, Lebanon, Turkey, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and maybe even Israel, and the further destabilization of North Africa. I even think there may be the destruction of Israel, like we were talking about, right? They create it, then they destroy it. A heavier presence of China, SCO, BRIC, and NATO EDU in Africa, tied in with a standoff between India and Pakistan, is the next phase, in my opinion. Maybe some skirmishes in the Pacific over trade territories, but most of these will probably be proxy wars. We'll see. World War III is about conquering the planet and putting each country into submission by the way of exhausting each nation of the resources and ability to borrow, usury. This will bring people to their knees begging for a new order. I think when we see Al-Qaeda or uprisings for democracy, Iran, the scale will go up to 8 to 8.5. So when you see Al-Qaeda and uprisings for democracy in Iran, 8 to 8.5. If Turkey goes the same way and you see Al-Qaeda or uprisings for democracy in Georgia / Russia and Central Asia, the scale goes up to 9. And if Al-Qaeda and or uprisings in the U.S. and EU, a perfect 10. So we were talking about what's going on in Egypt and that massive expansion. Pakistan, India, Afghanistan likely to become SCO members. Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan and Mongolia are expected to become full members of the Shanghai Cooperation, or SCO, at the next summit. So it says here it's a Eurasian political, economic, military organization founded in Shanghai in 2001, replacing Shanghai 5 that came into being in 1996. At present, Russia, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan are members of SCO. So, and Pakistan nukes under intensive U.S. surveillance. The United States has ramped up its surveillance of Pakistan's nuclear arms, according to top-secret U.S. files that show Washington's new level of distrust of the South Asian country. They say here the CIA has also expanded its effort to gather intelligence in a bid to address U.S. concerns about biological and chemical sites in Pakistan. It says here they're also seeking to assess the loyalties of counterterrorism sources recruited by the CIA. So they'll make sure their puppet regime and proxy government is still loyal to them. Otherwise, they're going to take away their toys. Well, dangerous toys. But it says here that they're quoting from a 178-page summary of the U.S. intelligence community's whopping $52 billion black budget that also keeps tabs on Al-Qaeda, North Korea, and Iran. So it kind of makes you wonder too, because they kind of are in charge of Al-Qaeda. It's their creation. It makes you wonder if they're keeping tabs. If they have Kim Jong-il and they have North Korea under wraps. Iran, under their basically another puppet government, and Pakistan. So could a maritime conflict start a Sino-American? I'm not saying that Iran is for sure. I don't know. Could a maritime conflict start a Sino-American war? So we're talking about small skirmishes, right, for trade territories between the Asia trading bloc, and the Eastern trading bloc and the Western trading bloc. It says what scared the writer was the sober assessment of the possibility that a conflict in the maritime arena could trigger a China-U.S. Armageddon, at least for Asia. This is not a new thought, but heretofore had been the domain of fiction writers, wolf criers, and video game makers. Now there's little doubt that China and the West are going to clash. They're already competing in both military and civilian ways, and more fundamentally in values. So you hear a lot about how the U.S. is actually in the scaled-down army, they call it. They've actually gone and done more amphibious types of assaults for training exercises with South Korea and Japan and that. And the same with China. So it says here China's worried about long war because of superior U.S. forces, so their military is developing plans and tactics for early and swift strikes to take out U.S. carriers, air bases and commands, and control networks, including satellites. So, and I thought I'd leave you with this video that I found, Libya before and after NATO attacks. In other words, just another casualty in the building of this one world order.
لا إله إلا الله والشهيد حبيب الله.
الله اكبر والدورة قامت من جديد بقيادة الزعيم معمر العقيد وراه الشعب وشاش ومعها قدايق يحسبوا النفط والثروة مال الشعب سايب. احنا رجال ولاد رجال احفاد رجال وقت الشدة شعب صامت جبار صعب في يوم تهدى من الشمال للجنوب من الشرق للغرب كنا معاك يا عقيد في السلم وفي الحرب ما تفرقنا فتنة ما يفرقنا اعلام كنا عرب ليبيين تحت راية الاسلام مغروسة فينا الشهامة مغروسة فينا الهمة بيك ومعاك من عصر الظلام من القمة التاريخ سجل دورة الفاتح من سبتمبر يوم الشعب اهتف يحيى العقيد العمر يا امين الامة يا ملك الملوك كنا نحبوك وبرواحنا نبدوك. الله اكبر الشعب الليبي ديما صامت. الله اكبر مع العقيد الثورة قامت. الله اكبر عشنا ثاني ثورة مع العقيد 22 تفجر فينا فجر جديد. الله اكبر الشعب الليبي ديما صامت. الله اكبر مع العقيد الثورة قامت. الله اكبر عشنا ثاني ثورة مع العقيد 22 تفجر فينا فجر جديد. يا جزيرة ويا عربية ويا قناة الحرة عمرك ما كنتي حرة هذه الحقيقة المرة حقيقتكم الفلوس وسخ ليدان تبوا تشوفوا العقيد من دل زلزال العابدين. الله اكبر عشنا ثاني ثورة مع العقيد 22 تفجر فينا فجر جديد.
It's cool, dude.